Hello everyone. There's something that every cribbage player should have, and in this video I'm going to talk about it. But first, in my last video, I showed a concept called expected average. This is a concept that uses math and probability to calculate the best discard pair for any cribbage hand. To those who watched that video and liked it and subscribed, thank you very much for that. For this video, I wanted to continue down that same path. So what is this thing that every cribbage player should have? It's this. Cribbage discards. And here's why. This book takes expected average and applies it across every possible cribbage hand. Have you ever played a game of crib and you were dealt a hand and you weren't quite sure which two cards to discard? That very question was the underlying question at the heart of my last video, where I showed how you can calculate optimal discards using math. You can go ahead and do the math for each and every hand, but that would take a lot of time and a lot of effort. This book has done that hard work for you. You can look up any hand in this book, and it will show which two cards are the recommended discard for both dealer and opponent. I found this book on Amazon, and because it looked neat, I picked it up. I thought I would share my thoughts on it, and hopefully others find this review helpful. There's a bit to get into here, so let's dive into it. The way this book works is this. You take the 6 cards that you're dealt, put them in numerical order, and when you flip to the page that shows your hand, the book shows which 2 cards are the recommended discard. Let's look at an example. So I have a deck of cards here, which I will quickly shuffle. Let's say you're dealt ace, ace, 9, 8, 7, 8. So this is a really good hand. So the first step is to put these 6 cards in numerical order. This is really easy. Ace, ace, 7, 8, 8, 9. The next step is to find this hand in the book. Our lowest value card in this hand is an ace, so we flip to the section of the book with ace in the top corner. Ace, ace, 7, 8, 8, 9. And that hand is right here. Hand number 1627. So the way this book works is, if you're the dealer, you look at the discard dealer column, and you line it up to the row that shows your hand. And that shows the 2 cards that should be discarded to your crib. So in this case, the mathematically optimal discard as dealer to your own crib is ace, ace. And that seems fairly obvious. If your opponent dealt this hand, you look at the discard pwn column. Pwn is cribbage lingo for opponent. And again, you line it up. And for this hand, the ace, ace is also the mathematically best discard. So these are the 2 cards you would discard to your opponent's crib hand. So that's pretty straightforward. And that's essentially how this book is used. Next to each hand are some numbers, the expected average values for dealer and opponent, which I covered in my last video, and the relative difference percentage, which I won't get into here. This book begins with an introduction, where the author explains why discarding is an important part of cribbage strategy. There's a part that talks about mathematics and how to use this book. At the end, there's an appendix section where the author goes into further detail on the math and the calculations. The book is 428 pages in total and is approximately 5 inches by 8 inches. Now I'll share some of my own thoughts about this book. Overall, I really like this book. There's a lot of useful information here. This book is basically a discarding cheat sheet. It's improved my game, and that's really all you can ask from any reference book. Does it help you do something better? and in this case it has. In terms of usability, the book is structured in a very organized way. The hands are in numerical order, the text is large enough to read, so you won't need a magnifying glass. One thing I liked about this book are these indicators on the edge that can be used to quickly flip to your hand. So this first indicator is for hands where an ace is the lowest card, 2, 3, and so on. I like the introduction because it explains how the math is done. So the book is very transparent about the calculations. The author draws some interesting comparisons to poker, which I found interesting, showing that cribbage and poker share some similarities in the way that math and probability can be applied to them. I also like the appendix section because it's a deep dive into the probabilities. There's some really neat tables included as well. I really think this book would be helpful to folks learning how to play, or to those who are looking to incorporate more strategy. I've actually found myself referencing it quite a bit, and I've been surprised at times holding a specific hand and thinking I knew what the best discard was, but when I looked it up in the book suggested something different. The mathematically optimal discard choice is the one presented in this book, and at times conflicted with what I thought was the best discard. But overall, this book has given me something to think about, and it's made me reconsider my discard choice, and in the end, it's actually made me a better cribbage player. That's my review. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.